This vehicle is the AMX 13 F3 AM. This is a French Tier 6 SPG. The map is El Halluf. This is a desert map. It's also a horrible map for SPG. I used to love this map, but they destroyed it. They made it into a corridor map because it was one of those maps that was really challenging, especially if you were a light tank player. So one thing about the map is that it used to have a choke point. Before they had all this nonsense over here, they just had like the corner. Like everybody had to go to the same, where that Type 64 is, the same location in the corner. And it was only 3 tanks wide. Everybody had to play there. And it would be very crowded. And it was on a steep slope. So it was slow to climb up the little slope. And you had to be a good player to play in that position. So basically everybody would come over here and fight. And you didn't have all this other flanking space or medium tank hull down spot. And this hill in the middle was not here, which means it was very dangerous to cross through the center of the map. However, I was a high-risk player, so I was always crossing through the middle over to the other side before other people were doing it. It's something that I learned on my own. I didn't learn from watching other people do it. And I learned all these different techniques, and I said, if you make it to the other side, you spot the enemy. And your tank destroyers, everybody used to line up over here. Half the team would line up over here, and they would snipe, and you get all this sniping damage. And it was called the TD meta at the time, which was probably back in 2013. And that was before they moved to the frontal armor heavy tank meta. And I really enjoyed it because it was challenging. Then they changed it. Now it's not challenging so much anymore. And I don't recall if they had this road that you came up. I really don't remember. But they probably didn't. They probably added this to make it easier. And I was like, why are you doing this? The game is challenging. And you're dumbing it down. I'm dumbing it down. Down, down, down. So that's why you want to move after every shot, so that they have no shot, Sherlock. But you knew that? No shot, Sherlock. Okay, so he's probably going to fire at me again. So I'm going to effing get out of here. You see, he did. He fired at me. You don't want to move towards the enemy SPG. You want to move perpendicular so he has problems aiming. He'll have an aim fart, as I like to call it. And I'm going to go forward because I have a faster speed. Like, he knows if he keeps on missing me, he knows that I'm moving. He already knows I'm moving. He knows I'm moving after every shot. He's not going to go after me. Because he's not that dumb. I'm going to tell you, don't do what he's doing. Don't do the counter arty. It's a waste of time. I did it. I learned how to do it. Been doing it for a long time. It's mostly a waste of time. You've only do it if all of your other options are exhausted. First, you go after spotted tanks, obviously the ones that are a threat. Then go after unspotted tanks, which means you're going to blind fire where you think a tank destroyer is likely unspotted. And then you go after the SPGs. Because those tank destroyers that are hiding in the campy areas, they tend to have squishy armor. Oh, I destroyed a VK. Woo! Yay! I believe that was a blind kill. If I started I wanted to tell a story about my car, but I never did. So I want to say, I want to talk about my first car, but if I do that, everyone's going to know my bank password. What was the make and model of your first car? It was a 1980 Rolls-Royce Phantom. No, so I don't want to talk about my first car, so I'm going to talk about my second car. You know what? I'm just going to say it's my first car. Oh, I drove it. Let's just say my second car had the ability to fly. It wasn't my fault. It was a Pontiac Sundance. And what happened was I was in Ithaca, New York, which is where Cornell University is. Ask me why. And it was snowing, and I was on a road with no shoulder, and the snowplow was coming, and I was about to cross a one-lane bridge, and the snowplow driver was also about to cross the one-way bridge. But the difference is the snowplow driver chose not to let me cross the one-way bridge. So I had to speed up a little bit. Not much. I mean, I didn't have to speed up. But I said, you know what, just in case I'm going to speed up because obviously this numbnuts is not slowing down. So I sped up a little bit and went over to the right to give him lots of room. Not that he moved over to the right to give me lots of room. And he had the big snowplow, the ones with the triple blades and the sign on the front that says "Get the F out of the way." And I had to move. I moved to the right because he was going to wipe snow all over my car. He would have buried my car. All the snow coming off of that blade. That effing loser. Unfortunately, there was no shoulder on the road, which I knew because I had driven on that road when there was no snow on the road. But what happened is, once I was on the shoulder, you can't get back onto the road because the road is all ice. When you try to get back on the road, your car spins around. Oh, I had front-wheel drive. So what happened was when I was turning the wheel to get back on the road, instead of getting onto the road, the rear end of my car spun or something like that. And that's when my car went flying off the road. It literally went into the air because it wasn't into a ditch, but we were way up because this is farm area. You know, driving by some redneck's farm. And because of that, they make the road level higher so that when it rains, you don't flood the road. You know, it just floods the farm and all the guys' effing crops. F you, you loser. 69, Kirill Nazarov. So, car went flying off the road, which is sad because I like that car. It has a Mitsubishi engine. I believe that might be the Mitsubishi Mirage. And went flying in the air. And I was like, am I on the road? You know what I mean? I never had accidents in the winter. This is like, lived in the snow for good 30, 40 years. And this was like my only snow accident. And after that, the car wobbled. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy a new used car. And I got like a Ford Contour. What are they? There was a special name for the Contour, like the 100,000 mile, no oil change car. It was a nice car. I actually liked it. It was two different colors. Because the guy repaired Ford Contours out of his barn. And the colors didn't match. My front end was from another Ford Contour that had a smashed rear end. So I had two different color. If you had to be like really close on a sunny day to say, hey, this car is two different colors. If you were just like not noticing, you really wouldn't notice. And I got it cheap, like $2,000, and it had like 20,000 miles, and it lasted a long time. It was a great deal. Every car I bought was a great deal. Holy shit, that's got to be another video. 1,300 damage, F you to whoever killed me. $56.5. It's going up slowly, but it's going up.